What's good, everyone? Chem Coop here, bringing you guys a BattleSpot singles tournament replay. So for those of you guys in our Smogon BSS community, I'm sure you're well aware that we have started our BattleSpot Premier League. For those of you guys who are watching and are not part of that community, what BSPL is it's a team tournament that covers a wide range of BattleSpot formats through the generations. So for our current iteration, there's 2 slots where 2 members of each team will face off against another team in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon BattleSpot singles, 1 in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire BattleSpot singles, and then 1 in the precursor to BattleSpot singles, which is going to be GBU, so Gen 5 singles. And then our other 2 slots are going to be an Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon doubles and an Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire doubles game. So anyways, this is a really fun team tournament. There's 6 teams in total. You play 5 weeks, round robin against all the other teams, and then the top 3 teams make playoffs. So yeah, really it's for bragging rights, and it's just a really fun community event. You get to hang out with a lot of players that are in your team that you may not necessarily interact with on a regular basis otherwise. You get to build together, play together, test together. It's just a really good time. Definitely one of the most fun time, probably the most fun time of the year to be in the Smogon BSS community. But anyways, what that means for you guys is that I'm going to be having tournament games every week, since I will be playing Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon BSS primarily. I could end up playing one of the other formats if needed, but more than likely I'll just end up in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon BSS. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm trying to think if there's any other notes going into this. Oh yeah, so APA upload. My opponent quit the league this week, so I picked up another forfeit win. So there's not going to be an upload this week. And then I'm actually going to Mexico this coming weekend. So I'll be gone all the next week. So I'm gonna probably play both my BSPL game and my draft league game on the next Sunday that I get back. So there won't be any uploads for a while, unfortunately. So yeah, that's it. Let's go ahead and get into it. So this is week 1, facing off against Lloyd, who is a member of the Blackthorn Belly Drummers, coached by my buddy Charlotte. I'm playing for the Castelia Cavaliers, coached also by my buddy Can't Say. I played Lloyd a few times. He's a really solid player. Probably one of Australia's finest. It's either him or Can't Say, I'd have to say. One of those two. For the title of Australia's finest BSS player. But anyways, we played a few times. I think we're 1-1, I think, in tournaments. Maybe it's 2-1 me. I think it's just 1-1 though. But yeah, he's mostly known for using stuff like he really likes Suropoke, which is a Trick Room team with Mawile, P2, Mimikyu, Breloom, Gyarados Naga, I think is the version he's been using the most, as well as liking some other stuff like Pharaoh, Lando, Gren, that sort of stuff. So I decided going into my prep for this week. I was thinking about stuff that's pretty solid against both the Trick Room as well as, like I said, that Pharaoh, Gren, Lando type core. And so one of the things that actually came to mind was Manectric. Manectric is really interesting and niche Pokemon in the BSS metagame. So Mega Man hits that nice 135 speed tier, which is going to put it over stuff like Gengar. And it gets really nice coverage. So obviously you have electric type moves for stuff like Gren, but then you also have Flamethrower, Overheat to try and cook Ferrothorn, HP Ice for stuff like Lando T and Mega Ments, Volt Switch for Initiative. You got a nice ability in Intimidate, like I said, the great speed tier. The only problem with Mega Man is just that it super outclasses Gen by other electric types like Tapu Koko or Thunderous T, which hits a lot harder with the Z moves, and then Coco's electric moves hit a lot harder with terrain, as well as just the fact that electric terrain is really good benefits for the rest of your team, whether that be sleep prevention or boosting stuff like Thunder Punch on Mega Metagross, etc. And also Mega Man takes up a Mega slot, so that takes away your ability to run one of the top tier Megas on your team, like Mega Ments or Mega Venu or any of the Mega Metagross, any of the really good Megas in the format. So that's kind of the cost of using Mega Manectric. But in certain matchups, it can be really powerful, and I felt like this might be one of those cases where the matchup might come into play and work out in my favor. So with that in mind, I decided to go ahead and build around Mega Main. One thing I've been testing on cart that I've really liked is running something like this offensive Tapu Fini plus mixed bulk Celesteela plus a Scarf ground type. I think in my cartridge play I've been testing Scarf Lando, but I like Scarf Chomp a little bit more just because the speed tier is a little bit nicer in case Lloyd opts to bring some sort of really threatening setup threat like Volcarona or something like that. Being able to make sure that I have the 102 base speed tier to outspeed it and hit it with a Scarf Rock type move, it's going to be really clutch for me. So that's kind of the core, is the main Finny, Selly, and then the Garchomp. I put a Gengar on there, this Perish Trap Gar, to help out with stuff like Mega Venusaur or like really stally builds that I'm otherwise going to struggle mightily to break. And then finally, my last Pokemon, being that Mimikyu. Really this is just there to help me check Naganadel. I'm actually running Ghost EMZ over Fairy or the Mimic EMZ. Mostly just because I wanted to be able to hit Mawile if Lloyd opted to bring that, because +2 Shadow Claw is going to be able to take out that Mawile in one hit. So +2 Z Shadow Claw. So yeah, that's my team. The thing to note going into these games is that it's a best of 3, and it is team locked. So we have to use the same teams for all 3 games potentially. So yeah, that's why counter teaming is nice, because if you get a good matchup, you're in a pretty set position, and you also get to learn kind of what your opponent's sets are in the first game, and then kind of make adjustments going into the later game. So it's definitely a neat twist on the best of 1 style tournaments that we usually end up playing. But yeah, looking at Lloyd's team, pretty much the matchup I wanted. It's not exactly what I expected, but the Mega Main still does just kind of go crazy against this kind of core. I mean, being faster than Gengar, HPIs for Gliscor and Mence, electric moves for Celesteela, being able to intimidate, Volt Switch on Mimikyu, break Disguise, and get in stuff like Celesteela. All, very good things for me. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think this game 1, I'll have to just go ahead and lead off with Manectric here. It has a pretty solid lead against everything my opponent brings, other than maybe like Trace Porygon 2, since it'll trace my Lightning Rod, and then I can't Volt Switch on it, so that stinks, but yeah. Celesteela is also pretty essential just for having switch-ins to his own Celesteela, as well as his P2, Mimikyu, that sort of stuff, so. And then Finny is going to be a very solid breaker for me to bring. So, yeah, long enough introduction to this video, let's go ahead and get into it. The actual games themselves aren't super long, so this still shouldn't end up being that long of a video, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So as I said, I'm leaning off with Manectric. We do see the worst case scenario lead in the Porygon 2 with Lightning Rod Trace, so yeah, I'm going to go hard out into my Celesteela here. A lot of Porygon don't run Discharge these days. A lot of times they're Ice Beam, Foul Play, like Toxic Recover or Thunder Wave Recover. So they don't always have Discharge, but Lloyd makes a really good play, discharges turn 1, and gets rewarded with the Para immediately. He goes for the Discharge again here, as I'm going to just throw off a Toxic, and that's so good because with this thing Toxic, my Mega Manectric is going to have a much easier time trying to beat this thing 1v1, because Main really doesn't have the power to break through P2, but with the Toxic racking up, it won't be able to recover stall me, so that's really nice for me. As you can see, I'm not getting leftovers recovery with my Celesteela, and that's actually because I'm running a berry on my Celesteela. I'm running a 50% berry, which is going to come in really clutch here. So he's going to throw off the Ice Beam, expecting me to go like Main or something, I think. But I get full parried. I went for Leech Seed there, but I got full parried, so obviously I don't get any healing out of that, which stinks. I think Discharge is a roll to knock me out from the range I'm at. However, he does get the low roll. I live on like 1 HP. I get the Figgy Barrier, and miss Leech Seed. Like, come on, dude. So that really stinks, because if I hadn't gotten parried on the last turn, or if I'd connect that Leech Seed, my Celesteela would be probably at like 70-75%, which would be super nice for me, as well as the fact this Porygon 2 would be a lot lower. So here, I've stayed in with Celesteela against this P2 long enough. I predict that he's finally going to just click the Discharge again, and I'm going to go Main here to get that Lightning Rod boost to my attack. However, he does double to the Mimikyu as I go Main. Here, let's go back here. Yeah, so here I thought about this play for a little bit, and I decided to make a bit of a riskier play. So Let's Snuggle Forever, even with the -1, is still going to do a ton of damage if he likes to stay in. But I don't expect him to just stay in on this, especially when he has Lightning Rod P2. So I make a good play, throw off a Flamethrower here as he goes to P2. So now I'm able to get my Mega off, and that's super good because now the Porygon 2, next time it tries to trace me, is no longer going to be able to trace my Lightning Rod. So I can Volt Switch and Thunderbolt it for free. Here I do expect him to just like recover or something because I have to go hard Celesteela since I can't Volt Switch the Porygon 2. So I end up bringing out my Finny here. Looking at what my opponent has brought so far, Finny seems like it will be a pretty solid option. So he does just go for the recover. This is a free Calm Mind for me. Obviously I can't get Discharge Parrot, and this is really not going to do a lot against me now that I have a Calm Mind up. So you can see super effective Discharge, like 24%. Come on, dude. Yeah, so here I looked at my calcs. Unfortunately, I can't kill the Porygon 2 with Hydro Pump from where the range is at, so I'm going to like to just drop my Z-Nuke on this guy, and we've gotten rid of the Duck. So the main Manectric wall is down, so now, really depending on what my opponent has, is going to kind of determine how this game goes. If my opponent has something like Mence in the back, Finny is going to be really good, so Mimikyu has to come out. If they have Gengar, they can go out to it, but because of the bulk and the Calm Mind that I have on this thing, I will actually live a Sludge Wave. Well, maybe not a Sludge Wave, but I guarantee live a Sludge Bomb 100% from offensive Mega Gengar. And Hydro Pump does like 95 to 113%, so as long as I hit the 80% accurate move, I should be able to get rid of the Gengar, and then I'll be in a great position. So feeling pretty confident in this game. If it's Celesteela, obviously he's just going to lose to Manectric. So he does bring out the Mimikyu. This was a cool Finny set, so it was actually meant to beat Mimikyu, on like more offensive Mimikyu 1v1. So what you do is if the Mimikyu comes out against your Finny, you Icy Wind as they go for Swords Dance, because the only way Mimikyu can kill Finny is with the +2 Let's Snuggle Forever. So you get the Icy Wind off as they go for Swords Dance. You're then faster, and then you can Waterium Z the Mimikyu and just kill it. But because of the speed I have in this Finny, I'm actually faster than the bulky Mimikyu, which Lloyd is obviously running, because he is slower than my Finny, you can see. I think I'm like 125 for like my actual number. On my speed is like 125, and I think Mimikyu with like 4 speed investment is like 115 or 116. So I do see that I'm faster, so that's helpful information to take into the next game. But he does elect to just go ahead and Swords Dance up. As now, I thought about this play for a little bit. I looked at my calcs. Knowing that I was faster told me that he was bulky Mimikyu. So my Hydro Pump was not going to kill him at +1. I would need the +1 Z to OHKO him. So I decided to just go for Moonblast to make sure that this thing got put into Manectric range. So, yep, sure enough, he does reveal the Let's Snuggle Forever. Takes out my Finny in one hit, but this is going to allow me to get in my Manectric now. I can just click Thunderbolt and KO the Mimikyu. So he does sneak for about 40%, and now it comes down to his last Pokemon. It is Salamence. So this is a tricky scenario. So assuming that this is a more specially defensive Salamence, which it should be, it will live this Hidden Power Ice from me pretty comfortably, but that being said, HP Ice is my play. I have a lot of physical defense on my Celesteela, so if the Mence is able to eat my hit comfortably, I know that it's really not going to be able to do a lot of damage to the Celesteela, and so potentially, depending on Paraturns and Leech Seed hitting and stuff like that, and depending on whether or not this Mence is like Spidef sub DD Roost Frustration, I'm actually kind of confident that the Celesteela plus main being able to get Intimidate should be able to win this game. But obviously it's not 100% sure just because of Para and the fact that I'm already at like 50% with the Celesteela. So I'm going to go for HP Ice here, and all that game plan doesn't end up mattering because I just get a critical hit and knock out the Mence. So the crit definitely mattered and definitely sucks. We talked a bit about this after the series. I'm not 100% sure that Lloyd would have won without the crit, because, like I said, the Celesteela might have been able to pull it out. I was playing this game at like 3 in the morning my time, so I was just too tired to really like Theorymon through what would have happened if I didn't crit afterwards. But to me, I just counted this as kind of the game saying justice, because if my Celesteela had not gotten parried, missed Leech Seed, on all that stuff, the Celesteela at like 70% would have easily been able to beat Spit F Ments. So, yeah. So to me, that's like just kind of justice. Like, if my Celesteela hadn't gotten like the early game, like a few bad turns early game, it would have won the game. But in this case, I just ended up getting the last turn crit and won the game that way. So it all, to me, it was kind of evened out. Definitely it sucks, because if you throw off enough discharges and stuff like that, you do expect to get some kind of hacks eventually. But really just mean like missing the Leech Seed and like not being at like 10 or 15 more percent would have certainly made a big difference in this late game. But yeah, anyway, so we ended up pulling out the 1-0, Manectric going ham. Let's go ahead and get into game 2. I'll switch the sides once we get started, but here I figured Lloyd would probably make some adjustments here. I was really afraid of him leading P2 again, or potentially switching it up and leading something like Gengar or Celesteela. So I opted to go ahead and lead off with my own Celesteela this time. I am mixed bulk, so I can take on offensive Gengar pretty well. And obviously if he elects to lead something like Mimikyu or Celesteela, it won't be too bad of a scenario for me to lead off with. So I'm going to lead off with Celesteela and then bring my main and my Finny, just because I feel like that core is just so good against this build that Lloyd brought, that even though it's what I brought in the last game, and I do expect him to shake it up, I don't think it will really make a difference. I think as long as I play well, I should be able to put myself in a position to win, even if he makes adjustments to what I brought in the previous game. So we are going to see that my team preview adjustment does pay off. Leading the Celesteela as he leads Mimikyu ends up being a really good call. And for me, this is just a free flamethrower here. So the thing with Celesteela versus Mimikyu is flamethrower is always your play against it, because the disguise is going to block the heavy slam anyways. So if you get the flamethrower off and you like burn the Mimikyu as you break the disguise, you're in such a good position. And also, just if I'm able to burn anything else or get chip off anything else, like if you go Celesteela here and I flamethrower, obviously that does more than anything else I could do. If I burn the Porygon 2, that sucks, because I'd rather Toxic it. But yeah, if I burn Gliscor, no Toxic Orb. If I burn Salamence, it's worthless. And just getting off chip on Gengar should be able to put it in range of Heavy Slam. So yeah, he does go Celesteela as I flamethrower, and I get a crit, which really in like the Celesteela versus Celesteela war, I mean, crits aren't really that big of a deal, because I mean it gets all the Leech Seed recovery and all that stuff. So the crit doesn't end up being that big of an issue. As you can see, the crit only does 35 anyways. So yeah, but so he's revealed Mimikyu and Celesteela, so I'm thinking it could be Porygon 2 as the last slot. But I could also very easily see something like Gliscor or Gengar or Mence even, probably over the P2. Just so he has a bit more offensive or defensive presence in the case of the Gliscor, because obviously Gliscor with Roost is really going to be able to stall out Celesteela pretty easily. But yeah, so I'm just going to throw off a Leech Seed here. He's going to throw off a Leech Seed here. So yeah, great Celesteela versus Celesteela mirror. And now here, I'm actually going to predict him to switch out. So I figured he got some healing back with the Leech Seed, or he stayed about the same with the Leech Seed, because he has leftover, so he ends up getting like an extra 6.5% back that I don't get per turn. So I do expect him to switch out here into revealing either his P2 or maybe the Mence, or I don't know, something like that. So I'm going to throw off Toxic here just to try and cover my bases, but he does stay in and just goes for the Flamethrower, as he does burn me, which sucks because that is going to limit my Heavy Slam damage, since obviously that's a physical attack. Now here, I'm like, okay, he's just staying in. I'm just going to keep clicking Flamethrower here. He makes the Heavy Slam, predicting me to switch out, so we both kind of traded like bad turns where I Toxic'd into the Celesteela and he Heavy Slammed into the Celesteela, so we both kind of outplayed ourselves in this early game. By turn 4, we've both done that. So I'm like, alright, whatever. I'm just going to throw off another Flamethrower here, as he does stay in. And and he just reveals Ace Protect. So he's got Seed, Protect, Flamethrower, so pretty standard set. I throw a Flamethrower, I burn this thing. So, I mean, at this point in the game, it's just been ridiculous. I mean, you had the crit turn 1, you had the burn turn, 3? And then now it's turn 6, and I got a Flamethrower burn. So, yeah, this is just, like, ugly. But he ends up proccing my berry, so I'm now ahead of him in the HP war, which is nice. But here I do expect him to either protect or maybe even switch out. So I'm actually going to go hard out to my Manectric here. As he does Flamethrower, which was a good play on his part, but with that huge lead seed recovery, my Manectric is, back to like 80%, so pretty good. And here, I really don't have to worry about Porygon 2 coming out. I'm pretty sure the Celesteela is in range of my Flamethrower, so I'm just going to click Flamethrower here. It's not like he can kill me with anything anyway, so I'm just going to stay in here, click Flamethrower, as I do knock out the Celesteela. So now I got main in. He can't trace my Lightning Rod if he has B2. He brings out Mimikyu as I Volt Switch out into my Celesteela. As he just does throw off the Let's Snuggle Forever here, does 28%. That boy ate. And now I can just throw off a Heavy Slam here as he goes Gengar. And that damage, it does 40% to regular Gengar. So I did my calcs, and that tells me this is 0 bulk offensive Gengar. So, yeah, I win the game at this point. Because now I know for a fact that he's 0 bulk Gengar based on the damage I did. And 0 bulk Gengar takes, Mega Gengar takes 60 to like 72% from Thunderbolt. From Manectric, so yeah, I'm just sack my Celesteela off. I bring out main, I'm faster, I click Thunderbolt, I kill the Gengar. If he goes Mimikyu, I 2KO that with Thunderbolt, and then Gengar comes back and I kill that. So yeah, at this point, I'm like, okay, I won the game. And then the series, obviously, since I was up 1-0 and it's best of 3. So I go out to main here, the Goatmon coming in here, picks off the Gengar, goes Mimikyu. I'm just gonna Volt Switch out, reveal my last. To be Finny, which he goes for the Swords Dance here. Guys, we already revealed from the last game, this is one of the advantages of Team Lock. I know he's slow Mimikyu, so he doesn't outspeed my Finny. So even if he crit Shadow Sneaks, it's not going to kill this. And I'm going to be able to just go for my Z move and blow this Mimikyu back and end the series. So throw off the Hydro Vortex to KO the Mimikyu, and that is GG for Game 2. So we win the Series 2-0, Week 1 of BSPL. Feels good. Yeah, it's always fun these team tournaments because, when you're playing individual tournaments and you win a series, it's like, all right, cool, that's great for me. But here, when you're playing the team tournament, it's like, all right, nice, I contributed to, my team being able to pick up the win this week. Since obviously there's 6 slots, you only need 3 wins to tie, 4 to win. So picking up the 1 win, it matters a lot, especially because my teammate Groudon Empire himself ended up picking up the win. He played right before me and won as well. So currently my team's up 2-0 in Week 1. Got some very, very hard games in front of us for the last 4. So we'll have to see how it pans out. But 2-0 lead, always a great start to the week. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this series. It was really fun seeing Manectric put in work. I've always liked using that Pokemon. It's just really not that good in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, just because it's kind of outclassed. So to be able to see it, have a good matchup as expected from my prep, and then to actually see it put in work in both games is pretty fun for me. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.